Okay. All right. Well, okay, welcome to my Blab. I don't know if I had just started it or not, but here's how this works. It was, last night was the first time that I had actually used Blab. So forgive me if this is really weird for you to watch. It was fantastic to experience. And what I want to do is just share with you some ideas of how to use it. So I think what I have to do is, as I'm doing this live, is to be able to expose you to some really fabulous people. And because this is the first time I'm using it, I have no idea how to click you and say, yes, Laurie Guest. I can see that you want to join me and I really want you to be on. Let's see if this works. If anyone knows how to use Blab and actually get someone on a face, that would be really cool. I think that we might need to fix a couple things. Thank you for the hearts, but all right, bear with me as I work this out. Laurie and Phil, I'm not ignoring you. Click the third square. What does that mean? Okay, I don't want the seat locked. So real TLN, whoever you are, can you help me to get these people on? It says I should accept the request now, which I am doing. Okay, this is like massive user error, probably something I should have worked out how to do. Okay, let's see. Finding the screen. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. This must be so painful for people. Can you, okay, if you can, just flashes and says waiting for the host. Yeah, sorry, Laurie. Oh, yay! Okay, accepting caller. Thank you, Real TLN. You are a rock star. Yay! Yay!
Well, I guess the clicking the third box unlocks.
All right. What's your real name?
It's Carlos Phoenix.
Thank you, Carlos. So for those of you who have just joined, Laurie,
New York City in the house. I see that.
We have some really fabulous people with us. Speakers that are deeply admired. And what I can do is play with tools. It's my very first time using it. Carlos, the Laurie is flashing, and I can't seem to get her on. So,
Did you click allow? Now, Laurie might have an issue herself, so she may have to refresh her browser.
Laurie, did you tell us that you might have to refresh your browser? I can just go to who and how do I fix it?
Now, once she refreshes her browser, she'll try to log in again, and next time it should work.
All right. Is that any better?
What was that?
Okay. So Carlos, you're going to be my the echo that's coming because of what?
Now, as far as the reason you're getting the echo, like they say down there, your microphone is picking up the sound from your speakers, which hears your voice.
Okay.
And so that creates a loop, and it basically creates that echo.
So how do I fix it?
You would lower your volume just enough that the microphone cannot hear it, but you should be able to hear it with your ears.
This is a really scary with an echo. Is that any better?
As long as, now if you speak loudly, then it might increase the volume on the speakers on its own, and you might get that feedback again. But as long as you speak, No, I mean, turn it down enough that you can hear me. But now a lot of people use headphones. That way it prevents that whole thing from happening.
All right, so this is definitely crazy for the people who are experiencing the first time. I will try headphones, but I'll still sit on my help desk today. How about some Lawless who's like saving the day? Because this is stuff that I should have probably learned. Any better?
Oh yeah, because now you won't have the feedback.
Yay. Okay. So here's a couple of ideas. I've lost some of the beautiful feet. So if you want to join me, please do that. Okay. So what's Blab? I was with gorgeous Lynn Rose last night. Lots of love for Lynn Rose. If you're not following her, I highly recommend it. I can still.
No, where are you located?
Hmm?
Where are you located?
I'm in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. So I'm halfway between Philly and New York. What about you, Carlos? Where are you?
I'll be in Holmesdale in October.
Oh, okay.
But I'm in Atlanta right now.
All right, Sylvie still hears massive echo, so it's obviously you the error on my part. What am I doing wrong?
Echo. I don't really hear echo. No,
Sylvie, is that any better?
Unless it's caused by me. Let me lower my volume.
Ooh.
Is that better, Sylvia? Oh, Sylvie? Sorry, I don't have my glasses on and I'm using my phone.
Okay, I'm saying something, Sylvie. Is that any better?
Testing.
Oh, man.
So you're still hearing echo?
Okay, so for those of you who've joined us, I am sorry that we have wasted the first 9 minutes of your morning trying to actually get the volume right. So Neen is the one echoing, so it's obviously me. If I go out of this and then come back in, does that get rid of everybody, Carlos?
Well, if you leave completely, yes. But if you refresh your browser, you should be able to come back in without killing the... I could finish my sentence first, though. Hi, guys. How's everybody?
Okay, I'm back. Is that any better? No, I still hear the echo too.
Now you hear the echo too? I don't hear an echo. Well, let me see. Maybe it's me picking up your voice. Hold on 1 second. I'll put on my headphones.
Okay, Gary, very sweet of you to say that you're still getting the echo and it's a cool effect. This is not a voice you want to hear in stereo. I know I sound like I'm 5, and I'm not inhaling helium. This is truly my voice. So for those people who have spent some time, thank you for joining me. Laurie Guest, I'd still love to have you. If you can't get on your webcam, I totally understand. Phil Gerbershak is in the house, someone that I really adore, and he is a technology guru. Sylvie is my fabulous, stylish, and gorgeous red-souled friend from New York City. You are also welcome to come on in. Haley Foster's just joined us as well. Haley is an expert in short talks and has had huge success in working with TED speakers. So Sylvie's saying it's better. Carlos, maybe you have the magic touch. I'm not sure.
Okay, Lynn. From my phone.
Is the sound better? Oh, you're back. Okay. All right, so for those of you watching along, I don't mean for this to be painful. Thank you for bearing with me. This is my very first Blab. So let's just pretend like take 2. I don't know if you can do that on Blab because it's so live. Carlos?
Okay, now, if you have moments like this, you can stop recording temporarily and then start recording again, and it'll still become one video.
Oh, that's so cool. How about lots of loves for Carlos? Now, if you don't know how to love, because this is what I just learned last night, see those like little hands like wanting to clap next to his photo? If you just like, look, click like Sylvie's doing. See all the love that's coming his way? Sylvie was loving on me last night. I had like 1,000 loves. It was incredible. It was incredible. Thank you, Lynn, for giving the loves. Okay, what else? Okay, we're learning through Carlos. One more tip.
Sorry, and I should be doing a little class, but the hands are called feels.
Feels, that's right. Apparently I have the language wrong as well. It sounds strange to me to feel somebody. I'm sorry. I don't know. Well, like I get it, but it still feels very strange to me.
And the idea of feels is almost in a slangish term, when you're relating to the topic in the conversation, you kind of feel that conversation. So that's the idea of feels.
Okay. Lynn, thank you for thinking I'm funny. It's just crazy naivety. So I'm keen to share some seats, and I'm wondering whether, Lynn, you want to pop on. I know with your beautiful grandma, you've got some special time. But for those of you who want to join a seat, please come and join me. So here's how Blab works. There are 3 opportunities to join me in the hot seat. Carlos has kindly taken one. And we can rotate these and we can change. I would love it too if you would tell the little bird. So if you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, you can post a tweet. So it's a way for you to be able to share with the world what we're doing. So here's what I thought we would do today. Let's talk about how thought leaders can use this forum. So for those of you who have just joined us, in the house, you have some awesome thought leaders, Lynn Rose, Sylvie, and there's some great people who are going to pop on and off. Sylvie, thank you for thinking I look fabulous. Just as a heads up, last night when Lynn very kindly, I'm not sure, got me on camera, there was no hair, no makeup, no shoes. It was terrible. So today I was like, I'm going to fix this situation. Brian Fanzo's in the house. Oh my God, this guy I met for the first time last night. Rockstar good. If you're not following him, you definitely need to. So Brian, thank you for being so fabulous. His Twitter handle is iSocialFans, which is iSocial FANZ, or Z, as you say in America. So I should probably get my American right. So these are some people that I think you could really learn from. What I'd love to do today is, if any of you guys want to join me, come on in. Brian, can I show the world your face? Any chance you want to jump on a seat? If so, all you have, here he is. Yay. Okay, let me see if this works, Brian. Okay, this is like super advanced for Neen James. Hey, good looking. Nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you too. I was wearing my headphones, so I have to switch my headphones real quick, but I can...
See, Lynn's already given you the feels. I still like the word loves better, but we'll go with feels because it's technical.
I think we can take it either way.
Last night, there was a couple of things that you said that struck me. I'm a partner in Thought Leaders Global, and I'm really about helping people commercialize their ideas. You said a couple of things last night, Brian, that I absolutely loved, and one of them was that this would be like an alternative, or a kind of, my word, sexier way to podcast. So Jenny Fallon's in the house. I'm going to get Jenny on video as well. So Brian, one of the things that you had said was it's an opportunity for podcasts. You said too, there's no experts in Blab. That kind of stuck out to me since it's so new. But thinking about thought leaders who've joined us, there are so many cool people on this particular stream. What are some ideas that thought leaders could use this forum, Brian? I'm going to tap into your brilliance first.
Sure. No, I mean, so for me, I think it comes down to part of it's like, you want to see behind the scenes. You want to see the real person that is quote unquote a thought leader. And I think a lot of times we put on a persona, we get on stage, you're speaking at events and people know what you look like, know what you present on stage, but to really build a relationship and a rapport with them, they want to see you backstage. They want to see what you go through. I interviewed Jay Baer before he gave a keynote.
Love him.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's been
he's in Australia. He's flying to Sydney right now. He's in my hometown and I just got back.
He is. He's there right now. Yeah, I've been messaging back and forth on Facebook because we have a little project we're working on. But yeah, he's been awesome. And so he has his new book, Hug Your Haters. And before he ever did his first keynote of Hug Your Haters, I was at that event and said, hey, let me get on Periscope and interview you behind the scenes. And so I interviewed him and he was nervous. Nobody had ever seen the slide deck before. He was talking about his new suit that he had on, which is always crazy because he always wears a crazy suit.
He always has the most incredible jackets.
He does. He has like the best suit jackets of all time. But yeah, but like exposing people to like that side of Jay Baer who gets on stage, owns it, crushes it, is something that I think not only builds a rapport, but we want to turn people into our advocates and help, without us ever having to make the ask, they help us, tell our story. And the best way to me to do that is if you relate with people and you humanize yourself. And Blab is great because I think it's about, we can actually merge and bridge audiences. So we can bring in, I was talking about Alex Kahn, but Alex Kahn is a big Periscoper. We've been engaging for 3 months, but when we got on Blab together, his audience found me, my audience found him. And although we both use the same platform, we talk about very similar business, digital, social media, technology topics. A lot of our audience had never knew of one or the other. And I think that's kind of the art of Blab, is that it kind of allows you to collaborate with those that you kind of have a shared passion with. I mean, you and I is a great example. I mean, Lynn Rose is connecting me with a bunch of people.
Love Lynn Rose. Love to see her face on here, Lynn. If you're willing to show that beautiful face, I'd love to have you on.
Yeah, and so, I mean, just the fact that Lynn connected last night, I did the private little session last night, and then we did the Blab, and then I met you, and then I was enjoying your dialogue, and then you tweeted at me this morning and said, jump on. I said, yes. And I think that's how quickly do we turn what we use a social relationship into what I like to say, looking at each other's digital eyeballs, and it's, that scale and that ability that quickly has never been happened before, and that's, I have to say that's the power of live streaming in my opinion.
Well, I think that those tips are really cool. I love the behind scene. Lynn said that she has taken the red eye and no sleep. So I think that you have permission not to join us. But thanks for your support, Lynn. And thanks for connecting me with Brian and some other fabulous people. So, Jen, I can see that you're trying to jump on the seat. What you need to do is accept the microphone and the video. So for those of you, this is all stuff that I learned last night with the gorgeous Lynn Rose. Follow her. A couple of things if you want to ask a question, one of the ways to do that is in the chat facility is / and the letter Q, and then that will show a question. If you want to join us in the hot seat, you simply have to click on the box that is available, and then that is a way for you to be able for me to say yes. And so, Jen, I have accepted you, but I'm not sure what is working and why it's not clicking. Brian, do you have any insight for me? I can see her Jen, flashing, but it's not actually working. Do I have to do anything else?
Now, Jen, if you're using a browser like Chrome browser, you might want to refresh that browser. If you're using the beta iOS app, I just want to let everybody know the iOS app has come out on the Apple Store, and you can download the official version, and maybe that kind of removes some of those glitches if you're using the iPhone. I'm not sure if it's come out on the Android, but it will be coming out. I don't know, Nancy. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I have only iOS, but I'm sure it's coming out soon. I know they have been working on that, and I know they're working on the iPad version. So,
So we have the beautiful woman who has taken the red eye and is spending time with Grandma, rocking the hat. So if you want to join us, thank you for doing that. Lynn, Brian and I owe our new relationship to you since we got to meet last night. Brian was just sharing some great ideas for thought leaders. And it's really great to see your face and to meet your community. So first time I saw this was 8 o'clock last night. It was very unglamorous. Today I've done hair and makeup just for the record. And it was really cool to meet you. We started to talk last night, Lynn, of how thought leaders could use this platform. And that's one of the things that I promised in this particular lab. So for those of you who are following along, it is my first time. Forgive the craziness. Thank you to Carlos, our help desk, who got us established. Brian, who's already shared his brilliance, and I'm sure there's heaps more. A great example of Jay Bayer, one of the people that I love. I went to the National Speakers Association Media Lab earlier this year in New York, and Sylvie was there and a couple of other really cool people. And the whole session that Jay spoke, I literally could not write fast enough. I couldn't tweet fast enough. He blew my mind. I was literally mentally exhausted after I heard him speak. He scares the living daylights out of me, and I love him. The guy has a crazy big brain. So big love to Jay, who's in my country in Australia right now. For those of you who've joined and I don't know you, I hail from Sydney, Australia. I now live in the US. I live halfway between Philly and New York. Lynn, a couple of things I'd love to share is how thought leaders can use this platform. Last night, you and I were talking about going behind the scenes and using a green room. Brian related to that very much in showing people before stage. So I was thinking we could showcase other speakers as well. So we could get other brilliant people on here, like Sylvie, like Laurie Guest, like the great people who've joined us. So there's a way to showcase speakers. How else are you using it, Lynn? Because you and Brian seem to be doing this fabulously well.
Well, I think, which Alex even said last night, and I think it's wide open territory. It's the wild, wild west. We're all jumping on that bucking bronco and figuring out ways to best hold on and ways to make it, rock. And I just want to applaud you, Miss Thing, that you're like, okay, I see how that works, and I'm going to do one first thing the next morning and lead it. I'm like,
yeah, that's amazing.
It's crazy, Carlos. Obviously, user error.
Well, I think that is the exciting part about it, because I had my day blocked for a whole crapload of stuff that I've been putting off, and then when I saw that it went from last night to today, I was like, I'm jumping in not only to support, but I'm a fan because I think that's what it's all about. And I was preaching, just hit the damn button, hit the stream button on Periscope, because so many people stare at that button, and the fact that you're willing to do that the next day, I was like, I'm jumping on. I think that's what it's all about, and I think that actually is part of what we can kind of expose as thought leaders as well. Is that I think part of it has to do is everything seems so methodical, everything seems so planned out, and the fact that Lynn just took a red eye, threw on a hat, and she's a rock star every single day. And the fact that Lynn's able to do that is just, I'm a bigger fan of her every day. And I think that's what we have to do, because technically we are selling ourselves. And by doing things like this without ever selling ourselves, just delivering value, and people are going to not only relate with us, but really kind of see that human side. And, I can tell you, I felt like I for a longest time, I was selling myself to get a lot of my speaking gigs, and now a lot of my stuff is coming inbound because people see me on Periscope. They see me, like I even had one where I was brainstorming a chapter for my book, and it would just happen to be on my whiteboard behind me at my other house. And someone offered, I've got 2 speaking gigs just from one Periscope because they saw what I was brainstorming. They said, can you present that chapter on stage? And I was like, my whole Periscope was not about that chapter. It was not.
Awesome.
I was literally, I think I was giving Periscope tips. And just because I had that chapter on there and they saw what I was doing. So to me, I think that's the exciting part about it for sure.
So here's a couple of things that I learned from Brian last night. It's subtle, but if you look behind that good-looking face of his, you'll see his hashtag. Nice. You can also see stuff that he's working on, the whiteboard, very cool. You'll also notice that he has given shout-outs for things like Periscope. So I've been playing with Periscope. The thing that I think that is cooler about Blab versus Periscope for thought leaders is Periscope's one camera. It's you sharing with the world, which is really fun and cool. This, what I love for thought leaders, is showcasing other thought leaders. I love the opportunity to be able to bring on set, and feel free, we are happy to bring you on to camera for those of you who I talked to before today. But what I love is that it's an opportunity to showcase others. So Periscope is a fun app for one camera. This I love when Lynn was constantly bringing different people on last night and giving them a voice, giving them an opportunity. What's really cool too, a couple of user things I learned last night from watching Brian and Lynn is if you click on the tell a little bird on the left-hand side of your screen, that will then tweet out about today. And whoever's on the screen, it tweets their Twitter handle. So that's kind of super cool. Love that. I also love that at the top of your screen, if you go up, you'll see all the really good looking faces of people that have joined us. And what you can do is you can scroll over those faces and then you can follow them. So simply, if you look at the beautiful Lynn Rose, you'll see that there's a box that says, do you want to follow her? Well, yeah, you do. So you click on that. So it's really easy to support other people in the community as well. Now, here's the challenge with me and a little tiny bit of ADD is that you are sending fabulous comments. I want to follow you at the same time. I'm supposed to be looking at my guests, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, I didn't mean to say that.
Blah, blah, blah.
But that's
right?
what it's like, right? So if you want to tell people that you agree, you can give them a feel. I still like my words of love better. See how I'm giving love to Lynn? See? My little face comes up. It's a scary face, but it works. Loves for Brian. Loves for Carlos for saving me this morning. So here's some ways that you can use it. You can also ask questions on the side, and then see how the fabulous Brian is already giving some people help. You're like a co-host. Oh my God, my very first Blab, and I have like these kind of rock stars in the house. Kind of crazy. So a couple of other ways to use it as thought leaders, I think, too, is to share your book. So this is a blatant self-promotion. That's one of my books called Folding Time, How Do You Achieve Twice as Much in Half the Time. And I think it would be...
Or share other people's books. So my friend Brian Kramer has a new book called... And I love that. We have an inside joke that he spells his name wrong because he uses a Y. So when I promote it, I just put my own little sticky there so that. But yeah, this is a really good book. It's right now on a bestseller for New York Times.
Shareology, if you didn't see that, that's really cool. Really cool.
That's part of it too, is that you can share and promote others. And to your point on Periscope versus, I like to think of Periscope as really, it is kind of like the stage, right? You're able to engage. You see the nonverbal and verbal cues from your audience. But when there's a debate, when there's a conversation, when you want to bring in multiple insights into one topic, migrating that to Blab is pretty sweet. And I did it 2 days ago where I was having a rant, me going off on the idea of what influencer marketing is and how we need to change our approach of influencers, and influencers forget that, with great power comes great responsibility, and people are ruining their trust with the community. And I had someone that was in there that was like, yes, and I have so much to add, and they were adding so much in the comments. I said, let's go jump on Blab. And I literally took from that audience into the conversation here. And when we have a great debate on Blab, I think that's what it's all about. We're able to not only convey our message, but in a spirit of debate and collaboration, you're able to bring it to a platform like Blab. And it's so easy because, I mean, if we were doing this for a Google Hangout, you would have sent me 3 emails. It would have broken twice. I would have had to schedule something
I know,
out.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
that is one of the biggest differences. And my blog post goes live today. It says, goodbye Hangouts, hello Blab. And, you know, that's what I've migrated my business there. And it's because it's easy. It's, you know, keep it simple.
I heard you say last night too something about changing the language in 13 or 16 contracts to replace it with Blab. Like, that's super cool and super supportive. A couple books that I think are great for thought leaders is the book called Thought Leaders. Now, you can't get it in Australia, in the US, but you can get it as a Kindle version on Amazon. It's from Australia. And the other one is Sell Your Thoughts. So that's a really cool book for thought leaders. You can get that as a Kindle version, I think, written by one of my business partners, Matt Church, the founder of Thought Leaders Global in Australia. And if you are a speaker, Paid to Speak is fun. It's a neat book that got published by the National Speakers Association. And you have some NSA members on this particular Blab as well. Lynn, what would you add about sharing other thought leaders' ideas and books?
Oh, God, I so want to add to that. I do want to just acknowledge, because it is the day that the update for iOS came out and having it, that it is set up a little bit differently because I'm actually on my phone. So I'm enjoying my first Blab experience on the phone.
Oh, neat.
And just so you know, the scroll of those little faces is not above but below the 4 windows on the iOS. Also, the Tell a Little Bird is on the bottom of the screen next to where you would type in your chat. And then if you're going to follow someone, follow one of the 4 windows, you just click on their name. It's not like next to their name. So it's just different because it's on the phone. But for in case there's anyone else on the phone, just wanting to make sure I help clarify that too. And so as far as, my God, how do you answer the question of like, what books do you want to read or thought leaders? Because how many of us have like the stack of books and you're like, you know, well, which one do I feel like reading right now today? You know, God. And I mean, and then there's just so many through the years. And I kind of like watching who's newer on the scene too. I love seeing who's been around forever. Let's say like Jay Abraham, you know, but I love seeing people who are new and fresh and taking ideas and running with it. Like you, Neen, you're not necessarily new, but you took the idea and ran with it with Blab. Zach Spruckler, I know, has been taking these platforms and then just immediately running with it too. So he's someone I think that's interesting to watch and just see what he's up to. But I can share more if you want to ask the question a little bit more specifically, because again, red eye brain. I've not slept at all last night. So
well, I think you look beautiful for red eye brain. One of the questions that's come up was
You look amazing.
From Jez Johnson. I don't know what your real name is, Jez. My apologies. How do you think Blab can be used during and post events and conferences? Well, Brian and I were talking about this. Lynn and I were sharing last night. A couple of ideas I think would be really helpful is you could interview the CEO of the company that you're speaking for. You could interview audience members. You could offer it up and connect it. Brian and I were talking about the value of connecting this to a tweet chat because I do tweet chats for my clients before I speak. So there's some really cool ideas and ways to use it that way. I also think it would be fun as a follow-up tool. My topic is around productivity and performance. And so for me, I always ask my audience members to be accountable and have an accountability partner. So one of the things that I thought would be really helpful is you could get people on a Blab and ask them to share what they've done as a result of the program that you have done with them. So it would be a really great way to increase accountability as a post-conference tool for a thought leader as well. So if you've got an action you want them to take, a resource you want to share with them, something you want to guide them through, that might be a way to use it. What about for the rest of you who are on the call? What ideas would people suggest for thought leaders to use before or after a conference?
Before or after? Because I was thinking you could bring on people and do like the Q&A, yes, but also
Q&A,
bring on people and specifically coach them. and then they get to see your consulting and your coaching in action. Sorry, go ahead there. Sorry, the Lou Network.
Well, now on the blabs that I've done, the blabs that I've been participating in, now I interview filmmakers and musicians and artists for my show on theloungenetwork.com. And Brian, I'm very afraid of doing a Periscope, simply because when I'm looking at it, everybody seems to have a mission and a very specific thought process. And me, I'm more of a collaborator. I like to get engaged in conversation and pull the information out, which is why I interview so many people. Now,
Carlos, I don't think the internet connection's good for you. I keep hearing staccato talk and you're going in and out. And now your face is frozen. It might be worth just trying to come back in.
Yeah, it froze.
He's frozen. Okay.
Yeah. So
is there anyone else who wants to be in the seat?
I got an example.
Yeah, Brian, great.
So Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm giving a keynote for Social Media Dallas organization, and I'm using Blab to bring in Mark.
Yeah, go ahead. I can go, and you can bring on someone else if you want.
Okay, who wants to join me in the seat? Sorry, Brian. Okay.
Very good.
Who wants to join me?
So yeah, I'm bringing in Mark K from his house in Florida while I'm on stage via Blab.
Oh, I love that. That's rockstar cool. Showing people how to do it. Hey, Nancy's in the house.
Hey, Neen. Hey, Brian. How are you?
Nancy. Good.
Wait, tell me again, Brian, how are you using Blab during your keynote?
So Mark K is going to be on his phone on Blab, and then I'm going to have Blab on the big screen, and I'm going to have Blab on my phone, so I can talk to Mark. Mark can talk to the audience, and we're going to debate.
I think I should hop off because it's coming in and out. So.
All right, beautiful. Thanks for sharing with us. You look pretty out there, red eye. I'd love to give someone else a chance who hasn't been on to share the seat. So who's brave enough to come join me? Bye, beautiful.
You know what I think also would be, we're talking about for the Legal Marketing Association. We have 5 co-chairs of our social media SIG, and we try to put on webinars once a month or so. And my plan is to do one on live streaming generally within a couple months and invite somebody else to be a co-host of that webinar. But I also I'm going to try to get permission to actually make it not a members only webinar for once because I want to try a couple things. I want to show how live streaming actually works and have a pre-webinar conversation with people over Periscope. And then I also want to have Blab going at the same time so that my co-host and I can also be seen and interact with Blab a little bit, but yet have the traditional webinar room going at the same time. So a lot of moving parts, but I think that it seems like that would be a great way to show how all these tools are working together, and it would kind of be a blast too.
So joining us is Patrick Ramsey. So Mary, just Nancy, to pick up on what you just said, a couple of people are asking about the headset you're wearing as well. Brian's rocking a headset. You're rocking a headset. I've got like little tiny headphones on. Mine look very crazy in comparison. Nancy, what are you using, hon?
It's a Logitech. Hang on, I'll get you the number.
So, Patrick, you're joining us from where, honey?
I'm from Edinburgh in Scotland.
Oh, neat. Fabulous. Yeah. I heard that lovely accent. Thank you for joining us.
I'm the nerd that keeps packaging for a while until I know something won't break. It's the Logitech H390, and it's a USB headset.
Cool.
Does that mean it sounds okay?
Brian, we lost you. We'll get you back as soon as your internet comes back up. Nancy, thank you for sharing that. Can you also make a comment so that people have that in the chat of the model that you're using? Great question. For those of you who want to ask a question, the way to do it is a / and a little Q, and then you can type in your question if you want to test it out. So yeah, ATW Networking. I don't know who you are, but yeah, like that, exactly. So / question Q, and then there's a question. Great way to showcase it. Nancy, thank you. A couple other ways that I thought we could use this as thought leaders is that we could use it for interviewing the meeting planner. And so what you could do is get the meeting planner on the Blab, and then you could talk about what the attendees could look forward to if you're speaking at a conference. Nancy's going to use it to debunk the myth of like live streaming. I love, Nancy, you're going to make it feel really safe for people. I think that's a sensational thing.
Yeah.
Eric was asking, what's the hashtag NSA15? So I am part of the National Speakers Association, NSA for short. And every year the hashtag changes for NSA as the acronym and then the year. So for those of you who don't know about the National Speakers Association, it is definitely a great place for thought leaders who want to share their expertise with the world. It is made up of some phenomenal people who have already joined us here on Blab today. And every year they run an annual convention, and it's called Influence. And this year, Influence 15 was hosted in DC. I had the privilege of being on the main stage with some incredible people. And one of the things that I shared was, how do you commercialize your ideas? How do speakers take what they know and make more money out of it? And so I shared that process with people at NSA. So if you want to follow the conversations, the hashtag NSA15, they also have regular tweet chats. They have a great audio program called Voices of Experience. You can download the app, VOE for short. And they have a magazine called Speaker Magazine. So there's a lot of free resources as well. So if you are on this Blab and you are interested in knowing more about the National Speakers Association, I would definitely check it out. Their annual convention next year is going to be in Phoenix in July. But there's a lazy river. So I'm thinking that's where most of us are going to be, is like sailing along, doing our networking in the water. So for those of you, hopefully that answers your question. So Marilee Tolan is saying we're meeting for the first time, and you're in Cherry Hill. Awesomeness. I am in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, halfway between Philly and New York. A couple other things I was thinking would be really good for thought leaders, and Nancy, I'd be interested in your idea of this, and that is that you could interview audience members who are going to be at the conference as well. Nancy, you speak at conferences. We both know the fabulous Gina Rubel, and Gina is a PR expert and marketing specialist in the law community. And I think, Nancy, that's how you and I got connected all those bazillion years ago. Is that correct? Was it through Gina Rubel?
It probably is, although I know you and I run around social media so much that we could have connected another way. But I think that's right, because I know you and Gina even live close in Doylestown. Yeah.
Like 3 minutes from each other. Yeah. So if you're not following Gina Rubel on Twitter, she is a real expert in public relations, especially for lawyers.
Yeah,
So on the, just for those of you who are using Blab for the first time, which it's only my second time, I used it last night. But for those of you who want a couple of tips, if you've joined us, whether you are on the new app or whether you are using this on your Mac or whatever, there's going to be little circles of faces either at the top or at the bottom of your screen. If you just roll your mouse over those, you can actually click and see that you can follow those people as well. So it's a really neat way to support people who have joined us today. Thank you for everyone who has jumped on for my very first Blab. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. A couple of other things to think about is if you want to ask a question, ATW Networking. I don't know what your real name is. You should probably tell me that. Showcase. Oh, Tristan. Thank you, honey. Is showing how you can actually ask a question, which is /Q. And my gorgeous Brian, my new best friend, is joining us again. Hey, good looking. Hey. So Tristan's got some great ideas. Also, too, if you want to like give people love, I like my version better, but whatever. If Brittany was here, she would say it's feels. I got corrected this morning by Carlos. So yay. See now, if I say Brian's giving me feels, it doesn't sound so great. Maybe it's an Australian thing, but if you click on those little hands, it's like giving people like verbal, like claps and saying, hey, I'm loving what you're saying. So if you see me clicking on Brian, see, I'm giving him the love. Last night, the gorgeous Sylvie, who had to leave us, gave me like a bazillion thousand loves of feels, I mean. So, and you could be giving Patrick some feels down here too, see? We don't want you to feel left out in Scotland, all right? Because he's joining us all the way over. So, yeah, so then it's like giving you a clap. I know it feels awkward, too. Whatever. A couple of other ways to use.
People said giving, when a guy gives another guy hearts on Periscope, that felt weird, too. So I don't think they can be right in any of the, if it's hearts, likes, feels.
Props.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're. I said fist bumps. I said it should just be fist bumps because.
Okay, I'm not a
could have
fist
been
bump.
little fists. Yeah.
I'm not a chick who does fist bumps. I don't get the fist bump. I get it's a boy thing. Yeah, it's not happening. Hattrick, Nancy, you guys can do it to each other. I'm not doing that. But
It's a
here's
virtual
what I
fist
do
bump.
think is really cool is that the opportunity to showcase as a thought leader other thought leaders in the community. So Brian had some great ideas about using this backstage, interviewing people and showcasing as part of his keynote. So Brian, can you remind everyone the keynote you have coming up, who are you going to showcase and how are you using this if someone's just joined us?
Sure. So socialmediadallas.org has me. I'm flying in there tomorrow, but the keynote's Thursday night, and so Mark K from the Mark K Show, he's a big Periscoper and Snapchatter. He's in Florida, so I'm going to bring him in halfway through my keynote and show off the power of collaboration, Blab, and then he's going to talk about his experience on building the network, his community on Periscope. I'm going to talk about building a community on Meerkat, and we're going to collaborate. And the way we're going to do it is he's going to use Blab from his device. We're going to have Blab on the big screen, and then I'll have it on my device. And so he'll be able to hear me through my device. The audience will be able to hear him on and see him on the big screen, and we'll be able to really collaborate. And he's going to share Periscope insights. We can talk back and forth to each other. And unlike before, I've done this before using Skype, but the problem with Skype is that because there was no mobile app and the way to do it correctly, to get it on the big screen, there was no landing page, there was no community and comments. So I already have the Blab scheduled. So I will I'll post the link to the Blab if anybody wants to subscribe to it. But yeah, it'll be my keynote's at 7 p.m., which will be streaming, and then he's going to come on at 7:45 via Blab. So I'll post the link in the notes real quick.
So here's a couple of things that are really cool about what Brian said, and I had forgotten to share that one of the things I love of using Blab versus Skype or, Google Plus Hangouts or those ones is not only this high level of interactivity, which is really fun and energetic, but that you can pre-schedule them. So therefore, you can leverage the platforms and the followings you have. So by being able to share this morning in the wee hours of the morning because I was jet lagged and in my craziness decided to do my first Blab, I posted it on my Facebook page. I tweeted about it. And there's a really cool group called Power Women of NSA, which is some chicks from the NSA community. And so I put it on there. But what was interesting was this morning when I woke up, there was maybe 5 people who were going to play with me. And now we have 29 people viewing it. I don't know about the whole numbers thing, but I do know that there's some pretty fun people in the house. Holly Duckworth has joined us. We had Sylvie with us from New York before. We've got some really cool people that are here. Obviously, the gorgeous Lynn Rose, Brian, obviously, Nancy, the beautiful face. And if any of you want to try a hot seat, just let me know. And what we can do is we can change out some of these screens. So there's another cool thing about this that I love for thought leaders is, Patrick, you want to add something?
I just wanted to ask something to say. If anybody's interested, we're a podcast show in Edinburgh. I'm one half of the podcast show. If anybody's interested in being interviewed in Edinburgh and Scotland or would like an opportunity to get their product or talk about what they do in the UK, I'm happy to interview and talk about it and spread it on our put the podcast out to the world, basically. So you'll get listens in the UK as well.
Neat. So follow Hattrick, connect with him about getting interviewed on his podcast. One of the things that appealed to me about what Brian said last night, and I am repeating myself if you've been with us since 9:30 this morning, but Brian was sort of talking about how this is the evolution of podcasts and how you can use it. And I have been reluctant to publish my podcast because it felt like everybody was doing it. And I didn't want to just blend in with everyone else. But what I love about this platform is the ability to use this and also promote the podcast to do exactly what Hattrick's done, and that is to invite people to be guests. So, Brian, if you're thinking about the podcasting platform, is there any other tips you have for thought leaders about how they would use Blab with a podcasting relationship?
So part of it, I'm all about kind of changing the idea of what a podcast is. So like you, I don't like to, and so for me, I call mine a live streaming podcast and let people know that they can actually get their input from the comments into the stream. But not all podcasts are like that. And I've been very fortunate to be a guest on lots of podcasts that have an audience that I would kill to have. So I understand not changing it, but I think it's about educating your not only your Blab audience, but the audience that's listening. So part of it is like to let people know, hey, I'm going to go live. When I go live on here, I'm going to be interviewing this person. I'm going to see your comments, but I'm not going to be able to formally engage. And then maybe whenever I'm done going live, I can jump back in and answer some of your questions. Because I think part of it, people will feel disconnected if you're not answering questions on the podcast. But I know for some hosts, they don't want, when the recording is on iTunes, they don't want the recording to sound like all of a sudden you go, well, thank you, Tristan, for joining us. And like, it just sounds disconnected. For me, I'm doing that. So on mine, I say, this is a live streaming podcast. Sign up for my newsletter. You'll get an email when I'm broadcasting live. Come be part of the show. Therefore, whenever they're adding in, I'm like, well, actually, on that topic, Sarah Moore from Australia just said blah, 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 blah. And I can actually bring that into my podcast. And that way, for me, I'm bridging my listening audience to come look me in the digital eyeballs. I'm kind of going the other direction where a lot of the other ones want to get the live streaming community in their ears. So I think it's good either way. I just think for me, it's the same thing on Periscope. If you educate people and let them know, hey, I can't actively engage at this moment. Or for me, I always put Keynote in my Periscope when I'm broadcasting my Keynote, so they know, hey, I'm on stage. I'm not going to answer, because I'll go back and watch the early ones when I was doing a Keynote, and people are like, Brian, why can you not see the comments? Brian, why are you? And I'm like, I'm on stage 30 feet from the camera. Like, that's why I can't. But if you educate your audience and you prepare them for that, I still think it's an awesome medium. It's just a little bit about that education up front.
Brian, so you've scoped your keynotes is what you're saying?
Yeah, I've scoped and meerkatted just about all since March. Yes, since
Great.
March. And actually, for me, I part of what my business is I help some of the events and some of the brands bring my live streaming team there, and then we live stream for the speakers. So like Social Media Day San Diego, I was presenting on the power of Think Like a Fan, which is the live streaming philosophy, but my team actually streamed the entire day from different perspectives. We did the green room, we did pre and post, we interviewed people that were leaving the each one of the sessions, and then we did the after party, where that was a lot of fun, because then we were seeing people doing Periscope and meerkatting there as well.
Love that. So a couple of ideas just to take from that for thought leaders, because that really was the title of this, and I need to honor the fact that we had a title and we had some commitments and promises that were made to people. And that is, as thought leaders, one of the things to consider now is that when you are sharing your intellectual property, it's not just you. And what I notice, especially when I've spoken at colleges, that I'm pretty much just talking to a whole lot of cell phones, because everyone is scoping you, they're videoing you. And so one of the things to consider is that you want to embrace that. I really believe video is the future. I always have. I thought what Salman Khan did with the Khan Academy showcased what we could do with video. And if you're not following him, definitely check out his TED Talk. But he was the one who really got me engaged in thinking about this whole idea as a thought leader. How do you actually use the video as an option? And live streaming just takes it to a whole nother place. Brian's using it in his keynotes live. I would encourage that you would be able to use it with saying to people, get out your cell phone. Whenever I speak, I always encourage people to tweet while I'm talking. Now I'll be asking them to Periscope or Scope if you want to sound cool, and maybe to Blab. I love the idea of Blab. I love the informality about it. I love that last night, my very first time on Blab, which if you were with me since 9:30 this morning, you knew this was my very first time, that what I loved about it was this engagement. I agree with you. Sarah and people who have been commenting, forgive me for not replying to all of your amazing comments that you have been sharing. But what I did notice, and I'm going to give a shout out to Aussies, is last night, Brian, there was a lot of Aussies who were on Lynn Rose's her Blab. And I think it just showcases that there are a lot of people out there who really want to be early adopters, and this is a way to look current and relevant as a thought leader. And look, I have no idea how all of this works. Obviously, I have been learning with you today. Brian has been guiding me. Carlos was very helpful. Tristan was helping me. So many of you have been sharing this. And I think that's also a piece of the authenticity behind it. I love when I see a speaker on stage, like Brian, I bet if I see you keynote, you're exactly the same guy if I buy you a beer at the bar. And that's what I love about a platform like this, thought leaders need to really unpack their intellectual property in a way that makes it approachable and easy, current and relevant and meaningful for their audiences. And I think Blab is a way to do that. Hey, thank you for the feels. That's really sweet of you all sharing those. So what I would like to suggest is we only have 8 minutes left of this. I'm just going to do this for 60 minutes. And Brian, I know you had a busy day planned and you popped on in and you stayed with us, which is so awesome for me. But if there's anyone else who wants to jump into a seat and you want to test it out, you are welcome to do that. I'm seeing Hattrick go the thumbs up, meaning you are willing to give up your seat.
I've got to go back to work, unfortunately. So I'd like
bummer to lose you, but thanks for playing with us. So
we'll hopefully chat again. And I'll see if anyone's interested in chatting, and we'll hook up and talk from there. Okay, look after.
Thanks for coming from Scotland. Have fun today.
Bye, Hattrick.
So a couple of other things I think would be really neat as thought leaders to use is if you have a fantastic internet connection is also like what Brian's doing, bring in other experts, bring them on stage, showcase the people that are there with you, and that would be a really cool thing to do. Now, I've only used this on my Mac because obviously it's only my second time using it. I'm interested to play with it on my cell phone so that it makes it more mobile. That's what I loved about Periscope is I could take it to my bar class. I could be doing yoga in Manly in Australia, and I was periscoping from there. So I do like that. Brian, as a mobile device, when you're using it, is there any best practice for thought leaders of how they would use it from their cell phones?
So my rule of thumb is don't stick it anywhere further than your arm's length away, because you have to read the comments. That's the power of this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's part of it. The audio is really important. The headphones, the simple Apple headphones work really well when you're outside. For me, when I'm inside, I don't use headphones. I just use it on my, I just use my device because the speakerphone's pretty good with no wind. But as soon as you go outside, a little bit of wind, if you use the headphones, that works really nice. I have like a lavalier microphone that plugs into my phone that I use for, it's a Rode Lav Plus microphone, which works out great for that. And it's not expensive. You got one right there.
Yeah, so Jay Bayer told me about one called Mikey.
Mikey, yep.
You can't see it, but I only bought this because Jay told me to. And then this little mic, I just do what he says. And then this plugs into the bottom of your cell phone, so then you can use this to record people. I bought it to do some podcasting, so God bless Jay Bayer and God bless Amazon. Yeah,
that's the truth. No, and the other thing with and it's funny because you do this is your first Blab, and I have to give you a lot of credit. You manage the room, you recap, you provide value, then you engage the comments. That is a skill that Blab has been lacking because I've only been on for a couple of weeks, and there's lots of people that are great streamers. There's lots of people that have a lot to say, but there's not a lot of great hosts that can really own a room, bring people in, recap. And I think that kudos to you for that, because I think that is a skill that's underestimated. I think people are only going to get better at it because platforms like this are existing now that we can actually increase that. But if you're on your phone hosting one, the comments kind of come up below, so it's a little harder to engage the comments. So I just tell people that if you are hosting from your mobile device, let people know that. And I'm very lucky. I have a community manager who is amazing, and so she jumps in all my Periscope, Meerkats, and Blabs, and she actually engages, posts links, answers questions that aren't really appropriate to answer on Blab, especially if you've answered the same question 6 times. She'll answer it for me in the comment section.
Oh, I love that.
Amazing for me. So that's the other tip I have.
Hey, that's a super cool tip. So I work with an amazing social media team called Social Connect. So it's Social KNX. It's led by the gorgeous, geeky Gina Schreck. So if you are following anyone, I would recommend her. Brian, I was hoping you would meet her gorgeous face, but Gina is my blonde partner in crime. She heads up this company called Social Connects, and what they do is they manage the outbound messages of my social media. So what would be neat is to get my community manager Misty to jump on with me when I'm doing these, and that would be a really fun way for her to share the links, help me answer some questions, because Misty's like another one of my brains. Gina's brain scares the living daylights out of me because she's so geeky smart. But she's someone, Brian, if you don't already know her, I think you guys would probably rock the house. But Gina Schreck is super cool. You know Gina?
No, I don't, but I need to now.
We need to make that happen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this morning in the wee hours, I was like, okay, Brian, you need to meet my friend Brian, Gina Schreck, and you need to come play. And I was like, oh, and you may want to be video ready, because last night I was not.
Well, it's funny too, because I think that's part of what's really nice about these platforms is that you can, it's a little bit more random, a little bit more, people jumping in and out, which I think makes it fun to where you don't have to you don't have to have perfect lighting. I even switched, I couldn't figure out why I was getting lag, and I think it was because I was using my music listening headphones. I was using those when we were first on, so I reset my browser and jumped back in, and those are things we weren't able to do in Google Hangouts or in a webinar. Right. You feel like it's so, I'm gonna sound really bad, but impersonal, right? Like I want real freaking people. I don't care, I'm all about being prepared. I don't believe that you shouldn't have a strategy, but I also believe if you're real and you get on here and like Lynn Rose said, I just got a red eye. Like how cool is that she still jumped on video?
I know.
And, other people I think would spend, and I love my friend Subi Zimmerman, who is, I love her to death, and we're doing a mastermind together. She plans her haircuts before she gets interviewed by me, so that.
Oh my gosh, what a compliment to you! Yeah, that's a compliment to you from a chick's point of view. I'm just saying.
And I take it like that, but I always give her a hard time because some of her most popular scopes, or she does her morning scope, where she just puts a fedora on and she's sitting outside drinking coffee, and everyone loves that just as much as they love the one that she does before.
Right. Yeah, I think this piece of authenticity. And before we go any further, I can see Holly has given you the loves, Holly Duckworth. Tristan, so neat to actually see a face that belongs to also another help desk member for me today. So I tease you, but I appreciated you showcasing with people how to answer or ask a question, which is really cool. So thank you for joining us. Now, tell people a little bit about maybe what you do in the couple of moments we have left.
Probably half the audience here have caught me on a Blab at some point. I've spent a vast amount of time on here recently, but
forgive me that I don't know that. That is total error on my part.
Yeah, he's like Blab, customer support, welcoming committee, and he doesn't sleep because he even sleeps less than I do. And to your point on Aussies, I've said it for a while, and Tristan's heard me say it. Aussies are crushing social media and live streaming. It's because they're listening and learning and seeing all the ridiculous mistakes the U.S. has been making, and people getting in. I mean, my friend Sarah Moore is on, Tristan's good friends with as well. One of my favorite people in all of the social media world. The person, if I've learned more from one person in all of 2015. It's Nathan, whose Twitter handle is Australia Wow. He is
I saw him last night.
Oh, he is, in my opinion, one of the smartest blokes there is, without question. But he is.
You even use the right language.
Yes. I'm being trained. Sarah Moore does a good job of. They were doing the other night when I was on. They were trying to get me to say Aussie words in my own version of a language. But I think it's a testament to me the power of social. Like I feel like I talk to Tristan every day. Nathan and I text message. I'm on Skype with Sarah Moore, and that's people that are around the world. And I think that's part of this really exciting element. And so, sorry, Tristan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I appreciate everything that you're doing, Tristan. I think it's not only helping the community, but I believe in the power of live streaming as a whole, and you're a good example of an ambassador for it. So kudos. I
mean, like Brian was just saying, the connections kind of globally, the people that you wouldn't get to work with and to connect with, the live streaming community is kind of, it brings the whole world so much closer together. And like I say, we're working here. And Brian saying about the Aussies picking up on those mistakes. Yeah, well, we get to work through the night while you guys are going to sleep. So when you guys get up, we've really rocked it in the morning, and you guys are like, where did this come from? How are they doing this? So then we jump in and give you a hand as well. So.
Well, that's why you guys have a lot of responsibility, because you have to you guys have to make Wednesday really good for me, so that whenever I get to Wednesday, it's actually good. Because if not, you guys are ruining it for me. So I love that part of it.
They pave the way.
They do.
I like that.
Okay, so I hate to bring this fabulousness to a close, but as a productivity person, I want to be able to honor that people have an amazing day planned and time. So here's what I'd like to do to be able to just recap. Huge love, admiration, feels, I don't care what you call it, to Brian for being like a co-host today, and the gorgeous Nancy as well. We had Carlos on earlier today. The beautiful Lynn Rose showed her face. And oh my God, Tristan Rockstar, my very first Blab. I get to hang out with like the big deal people. Amazing. So a couple things I would like to suggest. If you want more information, follow the people that are on this particular tribe today. click wherever you see the little round faces, click and follow them and watch them and support them. Give them shout outs, give them love. I would also recommend that you reach out to people in advance and say, hey, come play with me. I walk into a room and I assume everyone wants to play with me. I always have. And this is a great example of a way to do this. As a thought leader, interview other people, make your audience the hero, showcase the meeting planner, interview the speakers bureau, showcase books, make sure you highlight other people, share resources, be able to highlight the tools you use, the microphone, the headset. Nancy and Brian have done that so generously. As thought leaders, it's a great way to crowdsource information for the blogs you're writing, the white papers you want to publish. Point people to your website. My name is Neen James. I am at Neen James on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. I have a TV channel called Be Amazing. It's so important to me. I had it tattooed on my wrist. I would love to stay connected with you. Big love, big shout out. I'm going to end this call. I have no idea how, but big for all your comments. Please share this. Tell the little bird by clicking on the little posted tweet thingy as well, wherever it is on your screen. Thank you for making my first Blab experience such a fabulous fun time. Big love to all of you. Big Aussie cuddles and champagne kisses. Bye-bye.
Good job, Neen.
Thank you. I have no idea how to hang up.
Just
Brian,
X in the
how do
top
I
of your
stop?
window.
Oh.
Little X up there.
Thank you, Tristan.
See you
No
guys.
worries.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you around.
Tristan, I'm still here. I don't want to
Have
be
you got it?
I don't want to leave you all by yourself.
That's like, I was just checking that you had it okay. It's in the top corner of your, you can either
I
close the
can see
tab or
it.
close
Thank
it on
you,
your
honey.
bottom
I was just
window.
looking at the comments. So, Tristan, a question.
Yep.
If I want to keep looking at people's questions, once I go out, they'll all close, right?
No, so on this, so because you've put it on the record, what happens is it will, when the broadcast finishes, they'll send you an email with a video file, an audio file, and an embed code. And also at this URL, you can come back and look again.
Oh, that's so cool.
Not all of the comments are there. It keeps a certain amount of comments, and then obviously the ones that are older disappear, but they are actually still on the side of the page when you come back here. But it's good practice on the end of one. If you've got a schedule, leave an extra bit of time to just go back through and see if there's anyone you missed. A bit like with Periscope, you might do on catch.me, you might go and reach out through Twitter. You can do the same here.
Oh, that's so cool. You are just a wealth of information.
By all means, yeah, just shout me on Twitter if you need anything.
Honey, I will. You're going to be, you might be sorry. All right, I am absolutely going to get off this. And thank you, Nicholas, for your sweet comments about VOE. All right, I'm out.
No worries.
Thanks, guys. Bye, honey.